Now, how to make a profit? The profit formula is quite simple. It's sales minus costs. What we've seen in the market is that most F&B operators are investing their money in trying to increase sales. You invest your money by joining an aggregator. You invest your money by promoting your restaurant within that aggregator through ads. You invest your money by doing a social media marketing campaign. But very few businesses invest in actually optimizing profits. Very few people invest in looking within their business and trying to reduce costs as much as possible, let alone invest and try to reduce their costs. And there are several reasons why this is the case. One, it's the fear of missing out. If your competition is doing ads, then you want to do ads. Two, the tools that are available to optimize profits aren't that widely spread. And many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with US systems or local players that are trying to get into the back of house, but they aren't quite there yet. They do sell those platforms, but the usage from what we've seen is still very, very low. And there's one particular reason for that is that they don't specialize in optimizing profits. What they specialize in is helping you increase your sales. And so this strategy of only investing in sales and not investing enough in optimizing profits is no longer working. It's not sustainable because it's so expensive. And that means that you won't be able to survive for the long term. But reducing your costs, optimizing your profits isn't easy. It's very, very hard. And there are clear reasons for why this is the case. Operations are segregated and manual. When you look at procurement, and then when you look at inventory, and then when you look at menu performance, when you look at creating a recipe and configuring your ingredients in your systems, all of these different operations are completely segregated, which means that there is no communication. And when there is no communication, there starts to have a lot of discrepancy in your business. And you're not able to reduce costs because you're not able to control or understand your costs. Data isn't accurate. The data that goes into your system and that goes out of your system, so going in, for example, means receiving your items, recording your invoices. Data going out is registering wastage accurately or registering your sales accurately. Isn't done accurately. Why? One, because the tools that you have at your disposal don't enable the ease of use, are not easy to use. And so what that means is that people don't use the tool. And if someone doesn't use a tool, then whenever a waste is happening, they will say, you know what, I'll take care of it later. It's quite difficult to register that. I'm very busy. And what ends up happening is they either forget or register it inaccurately. So data isn't accurate and it's very difficult to keep up. Imagine you receive 10 invoices every day. Registering an invoice can be quite a time consuming task if you don't have a tool that is specifically designed for it. And so it becomes very difficult to keep up with all of that data that you have to manage. And a bunch of businesses, unsurprisingly, use Excel to do all of that. So the question you should ask yourself is, are you willing to continue managing your business by doing it in Excel? Very manual, very prone to human errors, and not scalable. So this is why reducing your costs is very hard. And today you're paying the price. This is not, we are very far from a nice to have product for your business. You as a business are paying the price. Here are some of the customers that we work with. And this is some of the things that they said before working with Sapi. Burger 28, they were selling dishes at a loss. Why? Because their operations were segregated. They weren't, so on the one hand, they were on the one hand, they were buying ingredients to create burgers. And on the other hand, they were selling those burgers. Now, the problem is that they were not, and they couldn't monitor the price fluctuation of the ingredients that they were buying. So what that means is that they were selling a burger at a certain price based on the cost of those ingredients. And then several months later, the cost of these ingredients went up. And now the profit of their burgers was going down. And so because of the segregation of the operations and because the operations weren't connected, well, they weren't able to monitor. Pinza, which is a really famous restaurant on delivery aggregators, saw that their variance was huge. Why? Because they weren't able to track it regularly. They would see a discrepancy after a month. Why? Because again, keeping track of all of that data, doing the reports is very time consuming when you're doing it manually. And so that means that you see the issue when it's way too late and you address it when it's way too late and the loss has already occurred. And that's a huge issue. And then Fia, the new hottest up and coming restaurant from Hatematar, saw that their team was wasting hours. Why? Because the tools that they were using weren't productivity friendly. A lot of manual processes, a lot of busy people, all of that leads to a team that is not very efficient. And so this is exactly why we created Subby.